This railway is coming together well. Every one of you have done excellent in your works. Some of you could have done better. The Railway Board has deemed the North Western Railway to go into full operation in about a week. In relation to the new Railway Act over at the mainland, Lord Harwick informed me that the North Western Railway wouldn't suffer from it. And as a result, many of you who are on loan has requested to remain on the North Western Railway. I can't keep all of you, but I'll come to an ultimate decision before the railway undergoes full operation. Alright, that's all I have to present. Dismissed.
As the fat director stepped down of the Earldrum, the engines looked at each other.
Anyone know what he meant by the Railway Act? Because I have no clue.
It's this new act from the government to group all current railway companies into 4 new ones.
My railway is among the ones to be assimilated. They're relocating most of my brothers and sisters. No way in hell am I going back.
That goes for me too.
I'm not all too worried. The choice seems clear to me.
If you're referring to any of us, you can save it. It's clear that Sir Topham Hatt is deciding to keep me, Edward, Henry and Thomas.
Delusional, that's what you are, Gordon. No sane director would keep a defect like Henry, a mixed failure of a hybrid who constantly breaks down every given time. Or an old and outdated engine like Edward.
You bloody bastard! Take that back!
Eagle, calm down. It doesn't matter what 98462 is saying. It doesn't matter to me either. It's up to the fat director on who wants to keep who. I and everyone else should not give a damn what 98462 or his partner in crime has to say.
Oh, shove it, Henry.
Pah! It is indeed up to the fat director on who should stay, but I know he's smart enough to know what is right. I mean, who would you keep? A modern and in-date engine like me, or whatever Henry is?
We're better off somewhere else.
You're right. All these deflects are giving me a massive ache in my smoke box.
All they've done when they arrived on the railway have been nothing but conflicts. They really expect the fat director to keep them?
I admit I think too much of my pride, but 98462's case is just the worst.
He's been calling me outdated and picking fun of Henry's build.
What goes around, comes around. I'll tell you.
Or he's just jealous.
Jealous? What nonsense is that? A pride the size of the Soviet Union is impossible to feel jealousy.
People pick on others to relieve their own insecurities, Gordon. He and 87546 are the only engines on the railway with no name or distinguishable liveries. 98462 always gloats about being modern and efficient, and 87546 is always boasting about how he's custom built and whatever.
It makes sense, I guess.
I'll go have a chat with him.
Good luck trying to get through his big smoke box.
Those good-for-nothing excuses of locomotives. You and I know that we're the finest examples of modern machinery.
Indeed. I'm a completely custom model. Who wouldn't want me?
A traitor to Sir Bresley himself, an outdated slack of iron, a tank engine who's so full of himself, and a pathetic excuse of an engine.
You're right. I may not have been what my designers expected. I may not be as efficient as you two.
What are you doing here? Asking for trouble?
No, I'm not 87546. I'm here to resolve this, once and for all. Ever since you got here, all you could talk about was how good you both are, how modern you are. It's been the only thing the pair of you talk about.
What are you on about?
You're both jealous. That's it. You're both jealous of the so-called special treatment we've been given. We got names, official numbers, different liveries. Both of you are trying to wash that insecurity away by gloating about how modern you are and taking your issues out on the other engines and me.
Utter nonsense! Me? Jealous of a mixed deflect like you?
Admit it. You can't hide from that fact. You're not just jealous of me, but of everyone else.
Let's leave this bastard alone before we get mixed up with another breakdown of his.
Henry, are you okay? Did they hurt you? Oh, those good for nothing.
No, I'm fine. I think I got through to them. Well, at least I think I got through to 98462.
Got through? The response sounded more like an arse trying to sound tough.
You may not get it now, Thomas, but dialogue can do wonders. Being aggressive and intolerable just goes to show how much you still need to develop. One day, Thomas, you'll understand.
One day, huh?
Good morning, engines. It wasn't easy, but I've chosen who to keep. Adam, Colin, I'm sorry, but your owners have put a much too high price on you. However, I've spoken to one of my colleagues who runs a private express line between Walesworth and Sudbury. He has decided to purchase the both of you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
We promised to work hard.
I decided to keep Thomas, Edward, Henry and Gordon. You're all officially Northwestern Railway engines. 98462, both you and 87546 will be heading back to your owners tomorrow morning.
What? No! You decided to keep them, but not me!
You don't think I haven't observed your behaviours during your visit? You've done minimal work and done nothing but stirred up conflicts. I've made my choice and you can't change my mind.
No! This is unfair!
98462 was speechless. At that moment, he remembered about what Henry said. He realized Henry was right. He was jealous. Jealousy filled him, and he let it all take over.
Good riddance.
I'm sad to say I'm glad to see the back of him.
Well, we're booted. Who needs this island anyways? A railway with defects. What engine with proper standards would want that?
Right.
You did hear the news, right?
98462. Not returning to the mainland.
What? Ridiculous! The Fat Director said we were both being sent back!
He did, but I've been bought. There's a VIP express service over at Tidmouth. The chairman bought me because of my custom status. I'm sorry, 98462, but it appears I'm staying. They're giving me a new name too. They're calling me Ronan, named after the chairman of the company.
Oh. Well, best of luck then.
I wish the best of luck to you too. You'll perhaps meet your brothers over there.
Right. Perhaps.
"98462 left once dawn broke. Many wouldn't miss him, and with many railways being grouped together, it would mean a new life for him."
Alright, what do we have here? A GER Class S69, registered number 98462. Built in Stratford, worked on the Great Eastern Railway for a short period of time, then temporarily loaned by the Northwestern Railway, island of Sodor, Well, as you know, the Grouping Act has resulted in a formation and 4 new railway companies. Your railway, the Great Eastern Railway, will be dismissed along with the other companies to the London North Eastern Railway.
So, that railway's my new home then?
I'd consider it a workplace more than a home. First off, you're being reclassified from the Class S69 to the B12. Secondly, before I have you sent away, you're required to have a new paint job.
New? Forgive me, but there's nothing wrong with my blue paint. I've had it since I was built.
Shame. Railway policies. I hope you like apple green. While we're at it, your new owners will be giving you a new name.
Oh, a name? Don't I get to choose?
Don't be ridiculous. Now, 98462, from this day on, you'll be referred to as Alfred. Imphology refers to Alfred the Great. I'd carry that with pride. Ah, the paint crew. It'll take a couple of hours.
While Alfred was being painted, he went through what could possibly be a catharsis. He achieved what he once envied. He indeed had a new life in front of him, a second chance in his eyes.
I do say apple green does suit me better. Wait a moment. Why is my number changed to 3? Should it be 98462?
Ha! Bloody idiots! Must have been a registration mix-up. Oh well, wouldn't be much of a deal with it. You're being transferred to work at the more isolated areas of the LNER.
Which is where?
Crosswind, somewhere up the Midlands, just southwest of the Newcastle.
Alfred's new crew members climbed aboard of him, and afterwards, Alfred chuffed out of the works towards Crosswind.
Hello, mate. You're the new engine assigned to work here, right?
That's true. I'm Alfred and... you are?
Oh, I don't really have a name. They just call me 63723, but my crew calls me Alric.
I know how it feels to not have a name. Throughout my life, everyone referred to me as 98462.
I don't recognize your model. What are you?
I'm a B12. I was built a few years ago in Stratford.
Stratford? I was built at Gordon's workshop about a decade ago, worked on the Great Central Railway. Well, that's enough chit-chatting. Let's get to work, shall we?
Ioric and I didn't grow too close. I saw him as someone who I could trust. We didn't chat that much. I usually met other LER engines from the Furnace and Midland Railways. The workman was right. I wouldn't call it home, but he was very wrong too. He expected me to dislike the work. I loved the work, but the work awoke regret within me. Regrets from long ago.
Years passed since Alfred began work on the LNER. Nationalization occurred, and the dissolution of the LNER led to Alric being sent to Furness to work with his relative, while Alfred was sent to Newcastle, the nesting ground of dieselization.
Blasted diesels.
Neglect about how modern they are, high and mighty, thinking they make us obsolete.
We're far from that. We're as efficient as these diesels.
The foreman says otherwise.
Pah! The foreman loves these diesels. Haven't had my paint changed in over a decade. But I don't think I'd look good in war black.
If I had it my way, I'd show both these diesels at the foreman the what for.
Oi, you two, back to the sheds, with the rest of you 30 obsoletes. These new diesel engines are proving quite well for themselves. The railway board is planning to replace a majority of steam engines with diesels. In this case, all of you will no longer be in service.
What? Outrageous.
Bloody hell!
Silence! I could care less what happens to you all. You'll all be sent for scrap. Good riddance. You'll all be paid to maintain.
Bloody bastard.
So, it's the end of the line then. Again.
All Alfred wanted to do was to puff away, as far away as he could. His life had once again bumped to an end. Hatred and regret flowed into him all at once. His life flashed before his own eyes. Best of luck, Alfred.
Thank you, Ginty. I'm glad you're not being scrapped.
It's almost a miracle. Being sent to Northern Ireland was uncalled for, but it'll take time for the utilization to reach there.
Alfred, it's been a privilege working with you.
End of the line, thought Alfred. He was locked up with the other engines, all awaiting to be dismantled and smelted in a few days. Alfred accepted death. I say, an LNER engine in its apple green livery. Now that is rare. You remind me of an engine. Same livery and same number. He works on my railway. His name is Henry. What's yours?
Henry?
Your name is Henry as well?
No, I'm sorry. That name just sounded familiar. My name is Alfred.
Oh, pleasure to meet you, Alfred. Let me take a good guess. You're named after Alfred the Great, correct?
Yes, that's right. You look familiar as well.
That is odd. I don't remember meeting a B-12.
Topham? Sir Topham Hat.
Oh, you must be referring to my father. You must have met him instead of me. My father's name is Topham Hatt the First. I'm his son, Charles Topham Hatt the Second.
Has your father ever told you anything about me?
He did mention of an old Class S69 working on the railway. That was before they were classified as B-12s.
That's me! I was the Class S69, but then I was referred to my registrational number, 98462.
98462. Oh! I remember you. Yes, my father did tell me about you, although they weren't very positive.
I've changed. It's been such a long time. I didn't know the Northwestern Railway still existed.
Oh, we did suffer from nationalization. However, my father and the Railway Board agreed to have it keep its independence to a large degree.
Steam engines still operating on the island?
Oh yes, they're very efficient and very useful. I have no plans on scrapping them.
I'm sorry for asking so suddenly, but may I please return? I know your father said a lot of negative things about me, and it's true, he's not wrong. It's been 37 years. I've changed for the better. I've become a better engine. I want to be useful, sir.
The stout gentleman walked away. Alfred didn't know whether he had lost hope or not. That was until the gentleman returned 20 minutes later, with documents in his hands. Alfred, was it? I've spoken with the yard manager. You'll be working for me from now on. Welcome back to the Northwestern Railway.
Thank you, sir. I promise I'll do my best. You won't regret this.
Alfred arrived at Crowland's Gate Works the next day. He was going to get a new paint job. So, what will it be?
I beg your pardon?
What will it be? Your new paint? Would you like to be coated with NWR blue, or...?
No, sorry. My apple green paint is good enough.
Alright, a new coat of it is. New around here, eh? Pleasure to meet you. My name's Montague, but everyone calls me Duck, because I'm one of them.
Oh, a pleasure to meet you. My name's Alfred, and I wouldn't say new.
Well, you've been on Sodor?
Yes, but that was a very long time ago.
Well, then you must recognize the other engines. I'll reintroduce them to you.
Oh, I don't think that's necessary.
Pah, just try the climbing up sofa.
Hey, it's that talking to a brick wall. Oh, shove it, you two. Sure thing, laddie. Ignore them. As Alfred and Duck approached the big station, nostalgia began hitting Alfred hard. He grew anxious as he approached the station.
I've taken the express, so Topham Hatt assigned me to it.
Oh, kiss my red tender! Ever heard of sharing?
Pah! You're sounding like a communist. Maybe that paint job really suits you.
Hello, Duck. Who's that with you? Gentlemen, this is Alfred.
You look very familiar. Have we met?
Now that you mentioned it, Henry, I also seem to recognize him as well.
It could just be an engine you met at the mainland, you know.
I've been nothing but anxious since I got here. But what use with it do I if I kept it hidden? You might recognize me with my number. a 98462.
Gordon, Edward, and Henry were in a complete state of shock. They have all thought 98462 was long gone.
Sorry, right. Did I miss anything? Oh, a new engine.
I'm very sorry for what I've said. I know all of you don't have the heart to forgive me. I just want to leave things in the past. I want to be a useful engine, but I owe a sincere apology to all of you, especially to you two, Edward and Henry.
I forgive you, Alfred. For Pete's sake, it's been 37 years since we last saw you.
You know, based on all the things that could happen to engines on the mainland, I'm just glad you're okay. I forgive you, too.
Well, I believe in change, and I know pride can corrupt anyone, so I forgive you too.
You don't have to hear any dispute from me.
I began my new life on Sodor for the second time. I got to meet Ronan again, who I'm glad is still alive. Time passed and I was given my own branch line. Sharing a branch line with Fergus, Neville, Neil and Eric. And that's my story of how I managed to come to a full circle. Some say I started on the Great Eastern Railway, but I know fully well that my life started on Sodor.
And what's your thoughts on the Northwestern Railway being the first railway to come out of nationalisation and fully privatised?
Well, I'd call it a fresh new start.
Well, shoot, I'd say there's a bright future for the railway.
You're not very good at interviews, are you?
Well, to be fair, this is my first interview.
I'm probably the last.
Around your neck, all the things you've said and the things you've done, can you carry it with no regrets? Can you stand the person you've become? Oh, there's a light. Oh, there's a light. You're albatross, let it go, let it go. Shoot it down, when you just can't shake the heavy weight of living. Stepping forward out into the day, shrugging off the dust of memory, though it's soaring still above your head. It is out of sight and none shall see. Oh, there's a light. Oh, there's a light. You're albatross, let it go, let it go. You're albatross, shoot it down, when you just can't shake the heavy weight of living, when you just can't seem to shake the weight of living. It's the sun in your eyes, in your eyes. It's the sun in your eyes, in your eyes. It's the sun in your eyes, in your eyes. Your albatross, let it go, let it go. Your albatross, shoot it down.